Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we're going to be talking about Tom Ford's brand new Soleil collection for winter 2018. I was so excited to see what was included in here, including a liquid highlighter, powder highlight, and some new Shade and Illuminate eye Kohl Duos, which I absolutely love. What I decided to do was do a video on the warm toned products in this collection, and then I'm going to do a separate video on the cool toned products in this collection. I feel like that was the only way I could really properly cover and talk about each of the products. So this video, if you couldn't already tell by the title and the thumbnail, is going to be on the warmed toned products. So if you're interested in hearing more about these products and watching me do a demo on this look, then just keep on watching. So there's definitely going to be a couple overlaps between my warm tone and my cool toned videos, but let me just quickly show you what I'm going to be going over in this video, what I'm not going to be going over and will be going over in the cool tone video. So he came out with two Glo Drops. One is Liquid Sun and one is Liquid Sky. So I'm going to be going over Liquid Sky, which is the warmer one. They also came out with two new powder highlighters. This one is Gilt Glow and this one is Luna. So I'm going to be talking about and demoing Luna in this video. And in terms of the eye and cheek palette, I am going to be demoing these two eyeshadow colors, the gold and the bronze, and also this blush, but of course I'll be using this in the cool tone version video as well. And then they came out with two Shade and Illuminate eye Kohl Duos. One is Solaris and one is Aurora. So I'm going to be talking about Solaris, which has like the dark brown and the bronzy shade in there. I also picked up a Soleil Lip Lacquer. These came out a while ago. I want to say this was maybe a late release for the actual like summer collection. I'm not exactly sure, or this was like a super early release for this winter Soleil collection. But in any case, I purchased the shade 01 Naked Elixir. I'm going to be using this one in both videos. And Tom Ford also released a bunch of like lip lumières, which I did not get. They're like sheer lip products that kind of change depending on your like pH or whatever. Those lip products never ever work out for me. They always change to a shade that I didn't necessarily want. So I passed on all of those. So let me talk about the Glo Drops first. The packaging is kind of annoying to me. So this is a dropper. So what you do is you turn to get the button up and then you keep turning to actually unscrew the top. And then what this does is it drops product. Now you have to remember to depress this while this is still in there to pick up product. And then sometimes it just doesn't work. And if I do it a couple of times to make sure I get some, sometimes I get too much. See, I still haven't picked up any. So this is a little bit fussy. And what I've ended up doing is I'll just take this and I'll just run my finger down this entire dropper just to get some product. So it's kind of annoying and it's already getting a little bit messy. So I'm not the biggest fan of the actual packaging. I mean, it's cool looking and it's a cool idea, but it just doesn't work that well. It is glass and it does feel really nice. I just wish the dropper was different. Okay, so in terms of the actual product, so let me go ahead and show you a swatch of the product. It has a fairly thin consistency. It's not quite as thick as something like the Hollywood Flawless filter. So it has a much more like subtle effect. And of course, depending on how much you use, you can really kind of continue to build this product up. But what I do like about this product is that the sheen that you get has absolutely no micro glitters. It is very pearly in its finish. It's very satiny and it just gives a really nice luminosity and glow from within kind of highlight without it being metallic or glittery at all. So I really appreciate that. I also find it really easy to use. I'm going to show you in the demo that I use it under foundation on this side of my face. I added it to my foundation on this side of my face, and then I just put it on top of my foundation on both sides of my face. And all those ways you just get like a little bit more luminosity like every time you use it. So I think it's very difficult to go overboard with this product. Very, very unlike something like the Cover FX drops where I felt like, you know, if you used just a pinch too much, you would almost look like the Tin Man. So I really appreciate that with this, that you're really able to get a nice, subtle, glowy look without having to be, you know, too careful or terrified that you're going to go overboard and look too crazy and too metallic. So I personally really like that. I'm sure you can see it on my skin. Even just ignore this part. I'm sure you can see it down here on my skin that I have just a really, really nice glow. I find it very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in that way. I find the Hollywood Flawless Filter, and I have it here, I find this to be even a little bit more metallic than these Glo Drops. And what I do like about the Flawless Filter more than the Glo Drops is that the shade that I picked, there's a lot more shades in this as well, the shade that I picked has a little bit of peachiness to it, which I personally really, really like. This one has a little bit more of like a bronze tinge to it. So this is definitely more of like a resort cruise kind of addition to your makeup collection, where this is a little bit more everyday. And again, I'm talking about the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. So next, let's talk about the powder highlight. And this is in the shade 2 Luna. And we have very similar packaging we've seen with the Tom Ford other Soleil products like the blush or the highlighting duo and Reflects Gilt. So I love this highlight. It is incredibly smooth. It's really, really beautiful. It has a little bit more of like a typical formula in that I don't feel like it's a baked gelée. I don't feel like it's a product that's hard to pick up like the Amrezy highlight, even though that one's beautiful. And I really do like that baked gelée formula because I think it can go on very sheer. It's very highly reflective. But there's something really beautiful about this particular powder, again, sort of in its subtleness, where you don't get something that's necessarily really like wet looking, but you get something that's really nice and kind of satiny and glossy. And I have it on both of my cheeks. So you get a look where it doesn't look like you've just been sweating, but maybe you look a little flushed. So I have the Tom Ford Highlighting Duo in Reflects Gilt, and this has like that baked gelée kind of formula. So you're going to get something much more like metallic with this kind of formula. And you're going to see that this one is just, can you see that? It's just so much wetter and brighter and more metallic looking, where this one looks more like a satin finish. So I think it comes down to personal preference. I feel like because I love highlighter so much and I feel like I wear it probably every day, that I like having this range. I like having this highlight that's pretty subtle, that can be buildable if I really want to kind of keep going there, that I can build up to something. But for those days that I really, really just want to look like crazy glowing, that I have something like this in my collection, this Reflects Gilt. So that is the highlight. Let me go ahead and talk about the eye and cheek palette now. I feel like a lot of people were a little bit either turned off or confused by the eyeshadow selection, and they thought this was a really, really weird color selection to be releasing around the winter and holiday time. But this is a Soleil collection, and this is definitely for the cruise and the resort crowd, the people who go away for the winters, the people who vacation for the winter to warmer climates. This is perfect for that, I think. And I think you get, again, like 2 warm and 2 cool tone shadows, and it's really easy to kind of create 2 very, very different looks. And you'll see in my demo that I use these 2 in this one. And then again, in my cool tone, I use these 2. So here are some swatches. I've got the blush on the left, then I've got the 4 shadows, and then on the right, I have the highlight. Now, in both of my videos, I'm not using this particular highlight in my demo because I really wanted to use the powder highlight that's separate. But this powder highlight seems very typical for what is in the eye and cheek palettes. It is a highlight that has like a bit of a pinky, cool tone to it. And I'm just going to swatch it there. And it's definitely a lot lighter than the Luna or anything in the Reflects Gilt. What I love about this eye and cheek palette versus all the other ones is that you have this wet dry formula going for the eyeshadows, and that these 2 products are baked. In all of the other eye and cheek palettes, you had a more typical quad in there where you had some satins and then like a top coat, if I'm remembering properly. And then there was like some top coat shade in there, which is great. I love those formulas from Tom Ford as well, but I really, really like the wet dry formula. You basically get two shadows in one. I like this blush a lot. If you are fair, if you have a lighter skin tone, just use a really light hand. If you have like a medium to deeper skin tone, you just have to use a little bit of a heavier hand. But this is a color I feel like would show up on a lot of skin tones because it's such a great kind of like mid-tone pink, even though it's very, very bright. And then I have the Solaris Kohl Duo, and this is just really beautiful. I'm a huge fan of the Tom Ford Kohl Intense pencils, and so when he started coming out with these duos during the last Soleil collection, I just snatched them up because I think they're great. And I feel like I've been personally waiting for this duo, so we've got like a dark brown on one side, and then we have like a metallic kind of coppery bronze shade on the other side. It's like perfect for me. I just think they're wonderful. The texture of these pencils are great. They're soft enough so that you can like smudge them out, but they will set down so they don't actually smudge on their own. I just really, really love these pencils. So I think this has been a great addition to the Soleil line. And then last but not least, I got the lip lacquer, and I'm not sure when this actually came out because I feel like these came out at least a couple months ago, but I've only used this a couple times, and I will say that I think this color is a little bit too light for me. It's what I have on my lips now. I definitely want to use it with a darker, maybe like the iconic nude Charlotte Tilbury lip liner. I think that that would ground this for me a little bit more. The texture is very, very nice. I find it to be very comfortable. And I wouldn't say that this is like a long-lasting lip gloss at all. This is more, I feel like this is between like a lip gloss and a lip oil. There's absolutely no stickiness whatsoever. I feel like it kind of goes on like a lip oil, but it's not quite as oily. So it definitely kind of feels like a hybrid. Oh, and what I did want to mention also, because I know a lot of people are sensitive to scents, this lip lacquer definitely smells like birthday cake. Like it has that kind of sweet, baked good kind of scent. So just wanted to let you know. So those are all of my thoughts on the products. Definitely don't forget to check out my cool tone version of this video, basically. All right, so if you're interested in seeing how I got this look, let's go ahead and get into the demo right now. All right, so I'm gonna start with the Tom Ford Glo Drops in Liquid Sky. So what I'm gonna do is just drop some onto my palette here. And what I'm gonna do is apply some to my face before foundation, just on this side of my face, so you guys can see if there's any difference. So I'm just taking my middle finger, I'm just going to tap some onto my cheeks here and just around my eyebrow a bit. Just going to take my sponge here and blend that in. I think the reflectiveness is kind of distorting the tone for you guys, but it has a very golden kind of tone. It's not that yellow per se. It's a little bit more of like a bronzy gold. It's very warm. It's a very, very warm tone here. So that's the Glo Drops on bare skin. What I'm going to do is actually apply some of my Tom Ford Perfecting Foundation. I have it in the shade 02. So this is his liquid foundation. And I'm going to apply some over this without adding any to the actual foundation. So for this half of my face, what I'm going to do is add some of the Glo Drops to the foundation, and so you can see more of an overall effect. I'm trying to cover as many bases as possible with my one face. So I'm going to squirt some of this out, and I'm going to pick up with the sponge. I'm going to use the other side of the sponge because I don't want any of the Glo Drops in the actual foundation. And then I'm just going to pounce this on. And this foundation has a pretty customizable coverage. I feel like it can start out pretty light, which is kind of my attempt now with a sponge. If you don't use that much, but it's definitely buildable. I feel like I can get this foundation to a pretty solid, like medium, maybe even like a medium full coverage if I use a brush, if I use a couple of layers. But I'm gonna try and keep this a little bit thinned out because I want you guys to see how much of the Glo Drops can shine through if you want them to. So there it is. I should mention I only have moisturizer down. I basically washed my face and moisturized, so I don't have any kind of primer, anything down on my face. So none of that is going to be interfering with like the finish of what's going on here. So I think you can still see the Glo Drops in there. So a really nice way to get like a subtle application of these Glo Drops is to just simply put it on underneath your foundation, and you just get this kind of like really subtle glow from within. If you have dry skin like me, I feel like it just makes your skin look not dry. So I really, really like this. So what I'm going to do for this side of my face, we're going to mix these two things together, and this way you guys will be able to see what kind of effect this gives your foundation. I'm going to take my sponge, dip it right in here, and apply this straight to my skin. So I hope you guys can see that through the camera. We've got a lot more kind of luminosity going on. It is obviously going to be more evenly placed out than just this area right here. But I feel like the overall effect of this side is more prominent than this underneath the foundation because it is mixed in. But this is basically the effect that you're going to get if you mix the Glo Drops in with your foundation. And of course, if you really want to amp up the glow and the luminosity, you can go ahead and add this on top. So I'm going to do just that. And this time I'm just going to use my finger and blend it in. When you use the sponge, it really kind of dilutes the product a bit. So I'm just going to use my finger because I really want to glow. So there is that side. So there it is applied on top of my foundation, and we're just adding a nice additional layer. I think you guys can see how much glowier this side of like my face looks versus this side. So those are the Liquid Sky, the shade number 2 Glo Drops, under your foundation, mixed in with your foundation, on top of your foundation. So before we hop into the application of the powder highlighter, what I'm going to do is actually powder my face, get a nice canvas down before we move into the powder products. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I put down some powder. I also added some of the Tom Ford Gold Dust bronzer all over my face, and then I just went ahead and put in some of the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel into my brows while I was there. And next we've got blush. So I'm going to pop over into the Eye and Cheek palette, and I'm going to go ahead and use this blush. And this is a really beautiful bright pink blush. I'm just going to pounce some on. Tom Ford blushes can be very, very pigmented, so I like to be careful with them. Now we're ready for the powder highlight, and again, I've got the Luna one right here. I'm going to take my Sonia G Sculpt 3 brush, which actually picks up a lot of product, and this product does not seem to be baked or hard to pick up at all, so I'm probably going to come out with a pretty banging highlight, but I want to make sure you guys are able to see the tone and the effect of this particular highlight because it's very, very beautiful. And then just place that where I want the highlight. So there is that highlight. This is with just the Glo Drops, and then this is with the powder highlight on top. It really kind of bumps it up quite a bit. Let me go ahead and add some to the other side. I'm starting to really love this kind of like glossy kind of effect. I'm going to jump back into the Eye and Cheek palette here, and what we're going to do is do a warm eye look. So I've got my Makeup Forever blending brush here. This is the number 242. I'm going to go into this bronze color down here, and I'm going to work this into the outer corner of my eye and into my crease area. All right, so there is the bronze shade. And then what I'm going to do is use a flat shader brush. This is the Makeup Forever 226 brush. And I am going to wet this brush and then go into this gold shade and put that kind of all over my lid. I'm going to take the Hourglass blending brush. I'm going to go back into the bronze, and I just want to make sure all of this is kind of blended out a little bit better because that gold is so strong, if you will. So next up, I'd like to use the dual-ended Shade and Illuminate Eye Kohl Duo in Solaris. This is shade number 4, and I think I'm going to line my upper and lower lash line with the dark brown. I'm just going to use a pencil brush and smudge out that eyeliner a bit. So I just kind of smudged out the dark brown. Now I'm going to go in with the metallic coppery side, and I'm going to tightline with it, and then I think also I'm going to get that into my inner corners there too. I think I smudged a bit too much of that dark brown onto my waterline, so I tried to use this pencil over it. I don't think you guys can see it. Definitely not through the camera because I can barely see it in real life. But anyway, that's the Kohl Duo in Solaris. All right, let me finish up my eyes. I'm going to curl my eyelashes and apply some mascara off camera, and then I'll be right back to use this lip lacquer. All right, now for the lip lacquers. So I have it in the shade 01 Naked Elixir. You can see it's pretty peach, but I feel like I can use it for cool or warm tone looks, and it'll look nice either way because it has like a pretty strong white base. It looks kind of milky, and then I feel like it'll look really nice with cool tone looks. But the tone is actually peachy, which is a little bit warmer. So there's Naked Elixir lip lacquer on my lips all by itself. To me, this look really screams like resort when you go away during the winter time, like if you take a cruise or if you go to the Caribbean islands or something. I feel like this makeup would be so appropriate. So here is the final look using all of the warm toned products in the Tom Ford Winter Soleil 2018 collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely check out my cool toned version video of this line. I think you guys will enjoy that as well. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Definitely comment down below if you have any questions. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.